everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into our SDCC at Home panel, Calling All Book Lovers, a sneak peek at new books from Tor Teen, Nightfire, and Tor.com Publishing. We'll be talking about just a few of the stellar books that we have coming up and some that have recently published. So be sure to stay tuned and also take a look at our social channels for our special SDCC at Home giveaway. So my name is Laura Etzkorn. I'm a senior publicist at Tom Doherty Associates, where I work on, well, everything. I'm super passionate about true crime, furry critters, and you can usually find me petting a dog or playing Spyro.
Hi, I'm Ceresia Fennell, publicity manager here at Tor. I work on adult SFF, YA SFF, and middle grade SFF. Fun fact about me, my favorite color is purple, and I love ice cream, and I also really hate horror movies, but I still watch them anyway. So yay.
Hi, my name is Andrew King, and I'm a marketing coordinator for primarily Tor Teen and Starscape, and also our school and library team. My side hustle is Dungeons and Dragons, and my side hustle is pining as I wait for the release of Hollow Knight Silksong.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Taylor, and I'm a marketing manager at Tor Books. I run the fun side of digital marketing, including all of our social media channels. And my fun fact is that John Scalzi once reviewed me as one of the best social media people ever. So I will hold on to that for the rest of my life.
Hopping right into it, we have some of our recently released titles that we're super excited to talk about. The first one being The House of Always by Jen Lyons. This is the fourth epic fantasy in Jen Lyons' A Chorus of Dragons series, which began with her beloved debut novel, Ruin of Kings. If you haven't heard of this series yet, you can officially get them all everywhere, so definitely hop on it.
I am very excited to talk about The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman, which is set in a world of goblin wars, stag-sized battle ravens, and assassins who kill with deadly tattoos. There's a lock-picking, knife-fighting, wall-scaling, ball-breaking, lie-weaving, and some magic, so it is fast-paced, action-packed, as much fun as that sounds like it would be. Some folks in-house have said this is the coolest epic fantasy world they've ever seen, and we all work at Tor, so we can assume we know what we're talking about. And this book is on sale now for anyone who wants to snag it.
Then we've got Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. This one is Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things for readers of all ages. It focuses on Ropa, a teen girl who's wise behind her years, dropped out of school to become a ghost talker. Now she speaks to Edinburgh's dead, carrying messages to the living, which is harmless enough until the dead tell her that someone's bewitching children. She feels honor-bound to investigate, and she'll need to call on the magic of her ancestral home to hunt down clues of dark, dangerous secrets. This one is also already out, so go pick it up.
Amazing. I'm so excited to be talking about The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo. This one is also currently on sale now, so be sure to check it out. Vo reinvents the American canon in this magical version of The Great Gatsby. She's genuinely reframed it as the coming-of-age story told from the perspective of a queer Asian American, Jordan Baker. In this version, clearly the better version of Jazz Age New York, the rich are doing deals with demons, and at Gatsby's you'll find parties where it's always 5 minutes to midnight and everything drips with money and magic. Jordan is a queer immigrant woman who must navigate life in this dangerous world where just being herself could doom her and find her own magic. Vo's prose is delicious and perfect for anyone who loved the magic of the night circus, the seedy Jazz Age parties of Babylon Berlin, and gorgeous historical fantasy like The Queen of the Night. And first I have to say congratulations to Peter Joey Clark because he just won a freaking nebula for Ring Shout. But in other news, I'm going to stick to the script, won't gush too much. What if the KKK were very literal monsters? that is exactly what Peter Jelly Clark is doing in this wonderful book that I just shouted about, Ring Shouts. His horror novella, which was published in October of 2020, is a gut punch of a horror story that asks just that question. Recently this spring, Clark just celebrated his debut novel with us, this radical reimagination of history in A Master of Jinn. It's set in Cairo in 1912. Agent Fatma is the youngest woman working for the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantment, and Supernatural Entities, but she's certainly not a rookie, and she's been called in to solve a murder that might have global repercussions. This is Clark at his best. This is a clever and funny mystery with characters both human and supernatural in a fully realized steampunk Cairo. If you love historical fiction and HBO's Lovecraft, I think you'll love this one. And more dark fantasy goodness. Next up, we have Certain Dark Things, which is forthcoming in paperback in August. And then we have The Beautiful Ones, which is available right now. So last summer, you may have heard a little book called Mexican Gothic, frequently touted as one of the best books of the year and a frequent flyer on the New York Times bestseller list. We are so excited to bring author Silvia Moreno Garcia into the Tor family with two spectacular reads. Certain Dark Things is a pulse-pounding neo-noir that reimagines vampire lore, where vampires, humans, cops, and criminals collide in the dark streets of Mexico. We are also thrilled to publish the stunning repackage of The Beautiful Ones, a charming tale of love and betrayal and the struggle between conformity and passion, set in a world where scandal is as razor-sharp a weapon. This book is perfect for people who don't want complicated magical systems, but like fantasy themes and a happily ever after. Check out both of these books out in spring and later this summer. And then we have one of my personal fan favorites featuring Black teen girls, A Song Below Water and A Chorus Rises. So these are companion novels. Best-selling author Bethany C. Morrow returns to the magical universe of her YA debut, A Song Below Water, in its highly anticipated follow-up, A Chorus Rises. It's an all-new tale that follows Naima Bradshaw, who is unapologetically Black and fierce and confident, whom I love so much, as she uncovers the true power of her magical identity when faced with the threat of online radicalism against sirens. Song Below Water became an instant national bestseller upon its release in 2020, receiving much praise from many notable YA authors, including Jason Reynolds, who called it beautiful and brilliant. It's a novel filled with magical Black girls, fierce sirens, locos, a hot gargoyle, and the paperback edition of A Song Below Water is currently on sale now, and the hardcover edition of A Chorus Rises is available wherever books are sold. And this author is also at the virtual SDC at Home show.
What doesn't Bethany have, honestly?
I know.
Okay, the nerds, you've braved deadly peril with Safi von Hastral and swooned over bad boy blood witch Edwin, and altogether fallen in love with Susan Dennard's New York Times best-selling Witchland series. And now you get to see the next part. In Witch Shadow, war has come to the Witchlands, and nothing will be the same again. Join Threadwitch Isolde, who must choose on which side of the shadows her destiny will lie, and call it more magic in the air, but there is no better time for longtime fans and new readers alike to collect and catch up on the new series. Now with beautiful, bold new covers. See Sight Witch right there? It's available in paperback. This tale of sisterhood, secrets, and dark magic cannot be missed, and I know a lot of fans are waiting for news on the series adaptation for TV, so stay tuned on Susan's social media for updates on that front.
I am very excited to talk about Star Eater by Kirsten Hall from Tor.com Publishing. This is a stunning high fantasy novel with a gaslamp touch that slides effortlessly into horror. Elfrenda, the bureaucrat priestess and practitioner of cannibalistic magic, will avoid pregnancy if it kills her, and one way or another, it will kill her. She must question the power she is born into to choose her own fate. Star Eater really has it all. It's got doomed romance, spies, parties, curses, a grim sisterhood of cannibal nuns, who doesn't love that, and giant cats. I also 100% believe this universe would make an incredible setting for a D&D campaign, so keep that in mind, fellow friends. So come for the cannibal nuns, stay for the downfall of hereditary power.
Following that one up, we have The Empire's Ruin by Brian Stavely. Also, Brian is also on a virtual panel. Brian Stavely is bringing back the critically acclaimed world of the Unhewn Throne with the start of a bold new fantasy series. The Anurian Empire is disintegrating. The ranks of the elite Ketrel warriors have been decimated from within, and the Kenta gates are closed. In order to save the Empire, one of the surviving Ketrel, Gwenna, must voyage beyond the edge of the known world. But time, of course, is running out. Mark your calendars and get ready for The Empire's Ruin on July 6th.
You might remember a little story called The Princess Will Save You, which was the start to an amazing gender-swapped Princess Bride with a feminist twist fantasy series from Sarah Henning. And now she's back with the enthralling sequel you don't want to miss, The Queen Will Betray You. Thousands of years of political instability have come to a head. A ruthless old king spinning webs, a widowed queen whose credo is that all kings must die, a runaway queen whose unexpected return upends everyone's plans, and a prince in waiting determined to wait no more. Princess Amaran's only hope in the face of unspeakable betrayal is the power of true love. I love these books, and you will too. They're full of action and emotion, and you can read The Queen Will Betray You and also The Princess Will Save You right now with the first book in paperback and the second book already released.
You may recognize Lucinda Roy's name from one of her many accomplishments as a poet, a memoirist, or even from her appearance on Oprah. But The Freedom Race is her first foray into speculative fiction, and I'm so glad she's entering the game. The novel comes together with beautiful, gut-wrenching prose combined with a futuristic setting and the aftermath of the cataclysmic civil war known as a sequel. This is a slave narrative of subjugation, resistance, revolution, and hope, and is the first in a planned trilogy out this summer.
Becky Chambers made her mark on sci-fi fantasy with the Wayfarer series, where her heartwarming style of space opera won over many fans, as well as a Hugo Award. Now she's back with the first entry to her new Monk and Robot series, A Song for the Wild Built. In this novella, we meet sibling Dex, a tea monk whose job is to serve people tea and listen to their worries. But Dex himself feels restless and bothered, and an impromptu trip to the wilderness leads them to an encounter with a robot named Mozcat. It has been centuries since a human has met a robot, since the robots retreated into the wild places, fading into legend. This novella is essentially an odd couple road trip with lots of tea that ponders what it means to be not necessarily human, but alive. It's available July 13th, and it's the perfect comfort read.
So I guess I get to talk about all the really cool YA series today, and could not be more excited for this one. Some people are extraordinary, and some are just extra. Lambda Literary Award-winning author TJ Klune's YA series The Extraordinaries tells a queer coming-of-age story about a fanboy with ADHD and the superheroes he loves. Nick Bell is not an extraordinary, but he does have a ton of engagement on the Shadowstar XOC self-insert fic he's writing. And when he finally meets his favorite superhero and mega crush, the Shadowstar, Nick decides he must become extraordinary, even if his bow tie wearing best friend and maybe love interest Seth Grey doesn't approve. And like, what can I even say about this story? Nick's relationship with his dad is unexpectedly and just extraordinarily sweet. Nick is a total chaos gay. This book will make you laugh and probably cry, and also cringe so hard in a delightful way that reading it is technically a superhero ab workout. Flashfire has already flown into stores, and you can read it and The Extraordinaries in paperback now.
So I could talk about this book forever, but I'm going to do my best to keep this short and snappy, sake of time. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan is Mulan meets The Song of Achilles, and it really is as good as the mashup sounds like it would be. It's an alternate history about the origins of the rise of the Ming Dynasty, starring a genderqueer main character who steals her brother's identity and his fate of greatness to make her own way in 14th century China. It really has it all. Page-turning action, an incredible slow burn romance, war, intrigue, and literally everything in between. It will rip your heart out and put it back. So let's just all comfort each other this summer after we read it. And it's hitting shelves near you July 20th this year.
It's so good. So very good, Rachel. Now I'm really excited to talk about Charlotte Nicole Davis's duology. So The Good Luck Girls came out in paperback earlier this year, and then The Sisters of Reckoning is forthcoming later this summer. It is Set It Off meets The Handmaid's Tale, so prepare yourself for queer, badass cowgirl energy in this thrilling conclusion to The Good Luck Girls duology. Set in an alternate Wild West, The Sisters of Reckoning is a fantasy adventure featuring a diverse cast of female outlaws on the run from human and inhuman forces. Along the way, these young and fearless women will forge friendships, overcome tremendous loss, and encounter unexpected love. Now, with an incredible brand new illustrated look, this is an exciting time for new readers to dive into this harrowing journey of revenge, freedom, and justice. Like I said, this book comes out later this summer. It is one of my most anticipated. I hope you guys go and pick it up.
And those new covers are so great. So next up, we have The Starless Crown. Now, you may know James Rollins for his critically acclaimed international thrillers or his Sigma series, but now he's returning to his speculative fiction roots with The Starless Crown. This story follows Nyx, a gifted student who foretells an apocalypse. Because of this, she's condemned to death, forced to flee into the wild and ally herself with a team of outcasts. On the run, they must learn to trust each other in order to survive in a world evolved in strange, beautiful, and deadly waves, and uncover ancient secrets that held the key to their salvation. The Starless Crown is book 1 of the Moonfall series, so mark your calendars for January 4th.
For those of you who cannot stop rewatching Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, your next obsession is The Endless Skies. Shannon Price introduces us to Rowan, a young warrior of the Leonidae line, in possession of elite martial prowess and shape-shifting magic. She's willing to risk everything to save her beloved floating city, and determined to. When disaster strikes, she will strike back. Inspired by classic Greek history and overflowing with stellar action sequences, romance, and as much female badassery as 304 pages can hold, this is a YA novel not to miss. The Endless Skies is available on August 17th.
Amazing. Next, we have another favorite, Never Say You Can't Survive by Charlie Jane Anders. So she's back. 2020 is like all about Charlie Jane. Let's talk about her second book of the year, which is Never Say You Can't Survive. It's a departure from her other works because it's a nonfiction how-to book about the craft of storytelling, but most importantly, how to write during tough times. I love this book so much. I'm a writer myself. I feel like everyone's a writer these days, especially if you're coming out of the pandemic. We all have lots of feels. So this is definitely a nonfiction book that you want to pick up. Get ready. It comes on shelves August 17th.
And we are back with more shapeshifters. Do you like epic quests, magic, dark forests, and obstinate princes? Then Forestborn is for you. From former Tor editor Elaine Audrey Becker comes a lush YA fantasy debut about a shapeshifter named Rora on an epic magical quest through a dangerous forest in hopes of saving her kingdom and best friend Finlay from a magical illness. Perfect for fans of the Hazelwood and Wicked Saints. In this story, to be born of the forest is a gift and a curse. Crafted with lyrical prose and gripping twists, Forestborn releases on August 31st.
I just also want to say I'm in love with that cover. Okay.
It's so nice. Here we have Farscape meets the Great British Bake Off in a fantastic space opera called You Sexy Thing from former SFWA president Kat Rambo. A former admiral in the grand military of the hive mind, Nico Larson is retired. She's found a home way out on the edge of the known universe with the remnants of her former unit and opened a restaurant there, The Last Chance, where they make delicious food instead of space war. but some conflicts can never be escaped. And unlike the hive mind, some enemies aren't content to let old soldiers rest. They've been forced onto a sentient ship that's sure, dead sure, it's being stolen, and so they must survive its lethal anti-theft measures and also survive the sadistic whims of a space pirate king in order to keep the dream of the last chance space restaurant alive. Read this book if you like your action heartily seasoned with humor. You Sexy Thing arrives in stores September 7th.
In the slums of the sea-battered city, a young boy named Nathan lives with his parents, eking out a meager existence by picking treasures from the living mud and the half-formed, short-lived creatures that it spawns, until one day his desperate mother sells him to the mysterious master of Mordu. Propulsive, compulsively readable, and full of unforgettable characters and a talking dog who wants to be a philosopher, Mordu is an epic fantasy, strange, new, and terrifyingly alive. Check out the first book in this stunning fantasy trilogy, hitting shelves September 14th. If it is a devil you seek, then it is a devil you shall have. I'm so excited to talk about Slewfoot, from dark fantasy artist and author Brahm, who spins a haunting tale of triumph and terror set in colonial New England. An ancient spirit awakens in a deep wood where the wild folk call him Father, Slayer, Protector. If you ask the Puritan colonists, demon, devil, Slewfoot. When Abatha, recently widowed and vulnerable among the unflinching piety of her village, reaches to him for help, they ignite a battle between pagan and Puritan that threatens to leave only ash and bloodshed in its wake. If you love 2015's The Witch, then we do have a delicious tale for you, and you can read it when it releases on September 14th.
So good. So I feel like TJ has just exploded. He's had so many books come out during the pandemic, and lots of people have been waiting for this one. So we have Under the Whispering Door, which is a man called Ove meets the good place in this delightful new queer love story from, you guessed it, TJ Klune, the New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of The House on the Cerulean Sea. When a reaper comes to collect Wallace from his funeral, Wallace begins to suspect he might be dead, obviously. And when Hugo, the owner of a peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace decides he's definitely not dead. Hilarious, haunting, and kind, this is a must-read about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. It's hitting shelves September 21st, so we get so excited to have more from TJ Klune.
Next up, we have Dune, the Lady of Kaladin, a series that seemingly needs no introduction. Now you can return to the unforgettable universe of Dune with this next installment to the prequel trilogy. More trouble in the Empire, more choices to be made, and more betrayal. This one's out on September 21st.
Lauren Chippen's Bright Sessions novels, based on the hit podcast serial of the same name, offer empathetic and realistic pictures of what it might be like to actually have superpowers. In previous books, we've met high school football player and struggling empath Caleb, as well as future villain Damien, whose desires were so infectious they literally poisoned everything. And now, in some faraway place, readers can walk with Rose Atkinson through dreams. Rose's entire family is atypical or has superpowers. Her mother can see the future, her dad's telekinetic, and her brother can read minds. Rose, meanwhile, can whip up a mean spaghetti bolognese. But at last, her own power manifests, the ability to delve into a liminal space dream world. She should be happy to finally fit in with her family, but coming into her own power might be more complicated and dangerous than she can handle. The Bright Sessions novels are perfect for readers who will enjoy thoughtful stories about mental health told using fun fantasy stuff like superpowers. As Vox said of the series, what if the X-Men, instead of becoming superheroes, decided to spend some time in therapy? Some Faraway Place is available September 28th.
Good Omens meets The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, Enrique Aoki's Light from Uncommon Stars, a defiantly joyful adventure set in California's San Gabriel Valley, with cursed violins, Faustian bargains, and queer alien courtship over fresh-made donuts. Shizuki Satomi made a deal with the devil. To escape damnation, she must entice 7 other violent prodigies to trade their souls for success. When Katrina, a young transgender runaway, catches Shizuka's ear with her wild talent, Shizuka thinks she's found her final candidate. But in a donut shop off a bustling highway, Shizuka meets Lantran, retired starship captain, interstellar refugee, and mother of 4. Shizuka doesn't have time for crushes or coffee dates, what with her very soul on the line, but Lan's kind smile and eyes like stars might just redefine a soul's worth. And maybe something as small as a warm donut is powerful enough to break a curse as vast as the California coastline. This stunning book of love, acceptance, and baked treats hits shelves everywhere September 28th.
Following up that warm donut story, we have something I'm super excited to talk about, which is The Last House on Needless Street. This one is so creepishly devastating. It's gripping psychological horror novel that keeps the twists coming up until the very end, exploring the lengths we'll go through to protect ourselves from dark truths. I truly wish I could chat about this one forever, but I don't want to go too much into it and give too many of the twists away. So just trust me on this. Go pick it up.
Can't wait for Amazon Prime to drop the brand new Wheel of Time series. We've got you covered with the world of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, soon to be available in hardcover. This new edition is bursting with full-color art, legends, and stories from the iconic series. Check it out in stores everywhere October 5th.
Nothing But Blackened Teeth is a gorgeously eerie haunted house tale steeped in Japanese folklore from rising horror star Cassandra Kah. An abandoned Heian-era mansion, thrill-seeking friends out to celebrate a wedding, the bones of sacrificed girls buried beneath the foundation. Food, drinks, and games quickly spiral into nightmare as devious secrets test relationships. And the house has secrets too, because lurking in the shadows is a ghost bride with a black smile and a hungry heart. She gets lonely down there in the dirt. A sharp and devastating exploration of grief and the parasitic nature of relationships and the consequences of our actions that Hugo, Nebula, and World Fantasy Award-winning author Kids Johnson called compulsively readable and lyrically beautiful. You can sink your teeth into all that lyrical beauty and shivery horror when Nothing But Blackened Teeth releases on October 19th. And from the 2017 John Campbell Award winner for Best Writer, Ada Palmer's Perhaps the Stars is the final book of the Hugo Award shortlisted Terra Ignota series, and the wait, at long last, is almost over. For those uninitiated, now is the perfect time to dive into the work of Ada Palmer, whose series imagines how a world that has progressed past the nation state and enjoyed 300 years of peace might collapse once again into war. This is a series for the history buffs, the readers who love intricate and speculative windows into potential future Earths, and books for those curious about the political intrigue of a collapsing utopia. You can witness the end when Perhaps the Stars releases on October 19th.
I love this cover so much. So, have you been fiending for a feminist retelling of Adam and Eve framed as a thriller? Then Comfort Me with Apples is absolutely for you. Catherine M. Valente is a multiple award winner for a reason, and this one moves from whimsy to dreadful and back again throughout, turning a fairy tale into horror and clever discomfort in the best way possible. So run, don't walk to your local bookseller on October 26th.
There's really nothing better than a good death tournament, and All of Us Villains is the best. Picture the Hunger Games, like hold that in your mind. Now mix in dark magic, queerness, and delicious scandal. And in the remote town of Ilvernath, the blood veil falls on every generation. A crimson light that stains the sky until the great families have named 7 champions, until one remains. Fame, glory, and most important of all, power are at stake, and their lives are on the line. I read this book in about 8 consecutive hours and loved every bit of it. Like what do you want? It's got magic, fights, wild, crazy curses, intrigue, romance, scandal, bloodshed, and so much betrayal. I'm just glad it's a duology because I can't wait to return to this world, and I can't wait for y'all to experience this twisted, pulse-pounding roller coaster when the blood veil falls and the death tournament begins. And All of Us Villains releases on November 9th.
I mean, we have such a dark, deliciously fall ahead of us. I'm really excited about it. But you guessed it, more Charlie Jane Anders coming your way, this time with a collection of short fiction from internationally best-selling author Charlie Jane Anders. Anders came to national attention with her best-selling debut science fiction and fantasy novel, All the Birds in the Sky. Since the late 2000s, Anders has been steadily publishing some of the most lively, outrageous, and engaging short fiction in the field. She has a little bit of something for everyone. So we have a short story that features a woman who can see all the possible branching futures, is dating a man who can see the one and only foreordained future. We have a wildly popular slapstick filmmaker who is drawn against his better judgment into working with a fascist militia against a background of social collapse. We have two friends who must embark on an epic quest to capture the weapon that threatens the galaxy, or else they'll never be able to achieve their dream of opening a restaurant. We also have a trans woman who is captured by an agency that brutally forces detransition by means of brain transplants, only to discover that the person overseeing her case is a childhood friend. And last but certainly not least, we have another story that features the liminal space between the warring fragments of what was once the United States. A mysterious bookstore is the place where all the incompatible realities can touch.
That sounds so heartbreakingly beautiful and terrifying in every way. So following that up, we have a bathroom book for people not peeing or pooping, but using the bathroom as an escape, which is a mouthful, from Joe Pera, who is a stand-up comedian and the creator, writer, and star of the Adult Swim series Joe Pera Talks with You. To know Joe Pera is to love him. So if you're not familiar with his gentle, endearing, heartwarming comedy, just go find a YouTube clip really quick and watch it. This book is an illustrated guide for those who may need a second away from the party to gather their thoughts in the bathroom. We've all been there. A bathroom book and its accompanying illustrations by Joe Bennett feel like the warm hug that you sometimes need before you head back out. Pick this one up on November 16th.
And finally, we have tons of your favorite books that are coming out new in paperback, like To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, A Master of Poisons, The Living Dead, Hex, and Rhythm of War, and Attack the Surface.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while we gushed about just a few of our upcoming titles. We hope you've had as much fun as we did. You can follow us on all of our social channels right here. And please be sure to stay tuned for our giveaways. You have a link right there, and we'll also be posting about on our socials for our SDCC at home giveaway. So happy reading!